Right now, joining us, political strategist and commentator from Young Voices, to talk about this. Hunter Biden, after forming the Rosemont Seneca Partners back in the day when Daddy was a vice president, he traveled on Air Force Two, the official vice presidential jet, on presumably business for Rosemont Seneca Partners. Is that not illegal? He went to Africa, Europe, Asia, Mexico. At least it's inappropriate, I would think. Is that what happened? Mike Viola joins us. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Mike?
I'm going to be okay. Fox News Digital did a whole thing on this. Jesse Waters talked about it. Is this, at the very least, this is inappropriate, if not illegal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me, during the Trump administration, people often complain that his kids are a little too close to things. It's not an invalid criticism, but this goes so far beyond, and you heard so much less about it. It's really disappointing, that discrepancy.
Well, if you think about what happened yesterday, and now with all of the stuff that's been stacking up with the Bidens, and for those of you listening right now going like, oh, yeah, you're just trying to even the score and Biden. But come on, look at everything that's going on. Nobody really gives a lot of credence or airtime to this stuff. And it boggles my mind. What's going on there, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's really disappointing just how uninterested most major news outlets were until really this month, right? Like I would say the New York Times has suddenly kind of picked up reporting on this in a way that I think it had been pretty negligent prior. But, just all through the Biden vice presidency, we saw Hunter go to at least 13 countries. We see that, he would openly acknowledge catching a ride with his father to meet with these supposed business partners who he was selling consulting services to. So it was all there this whole time. And people just didn't really talk about it because I think a lot of media doesn't really care when it's a Democrat in office.
It was when these things are happening, is there not someone in the administration who's in charge that goes like, hold up, guys, that's not good. We can't do that. That's unethical. Or do they just turn a blind eye and they just go, yeah, no one's going to care anyway, which they were right.
Well, yeah, that's what's so strange about it. The administration seemed to not care. I think, there's some evidence that maybe a couple people on Obama's team thought it was odd, but it got as far as Joe Biden hopping on speakerphone and saying hi to some of Hunter's associates. Yeah. It's pretty obvious that Hunter's associates thought a lot of this was inappropriate. Christopher Hines, one of his partners at Rosemont Seneca, which was kind of his shell corp for this business, cut ties with him in 2014 because he thought Hunter Biden's Burisma appointment, that's the Ukrainian energy company that he was appointed to with no experience, he thought that was just such an obvious, appearance of impropriety that he no longer wanted to be associated with it. Right? So, the people around him understood that it was fishy and didn't want to do business with him anymore. But the administration didn't seem to care nearly as much.
Tell me about this meeting that was proposed in Serbia. This was with Hunter's business, but these were state officials.
Yeah, so he was meeting state officials in Serbia. He was bringing his business associate, Mark Doyle, and that, again, they were going to be tagging along on a trip that Biden was already on in Belgium and Spain. Nothing huge actually seems to have come out of this, but it was basically an example of Biden selling what he called consulting services, which, all evidence suggests that consulting was just meeting with political figures in, sort of smaller, corrupt countries under the impression that they would get access to Joe Biden, which sounds kind of like a ripoff of the deal, to be honest, but that at the time was basically what he was selling, the idea that you have a direct line to the vice president of the United States.
I want to just say this. We were talking earlier about this Oliver Anthony guy, this guy, Richmond, north of Richmond, the guy who did that song. So that you just now you may think he's only singing about Congress. This is the kind of stuff he's singing about right there. Stuff that goes on. You form a shell company, Rosemont Seneca Partners. What do? Well, people pay us for what? Well, consulting. I mean,
right.
and that's not even. It's defunct now, right? It's gone now, right?
Yeah, it was eventually acquired by a Chinese firm.
Okay.
But right, as you say, consulting, that's one of the most meaningless words in the English language nowadays. But
big time.
Right, as you say, it was basically a Richmond, north of Richmond grift, right? He's flying around on taxpayer dollars on some stupid personal enrichment scheme involving his highly placed father. And ultimately, we bear the cost. We bear the cost in our taxes, and we bear the mental cost of having to talk about something so stupid.
Yeah, well, Mike, this always comes up for me is what percentage of the American population thinks of the government as this big, giant group with a pool of money that they just control everything, which it is, but people don't see it as we lend them that money. That's our money. I often get the idea people just don't understand that. Or if they know, they just go, yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, right. You know, one of the biggest lies ever told is that taxes are the price we pay for a civilized society, right?
Come on.
How much of that is actually going to a civilized society, right? A lot of this is really unfortunate. And I think a lot of it is just the fact that government has gotten so big, we don't even think about the graft that goes on, around the margins, not even, under one huge grand scheme, right? It's corrupt individuals like Joe and Hunter Biden taking a little bit off and, using things meant for state purposes for personal reasons and profiting off of that.
Yeah, I want you to just take that in. And when people start saying Biden crime family, they're not too far off there. They really aren't. Hey, Mike, we're up on time. I got to go. But one last question. Do you have a tattoo you regret?
Do I have a tattoo I regret? No, fortunately, I do not.
Okay, you like them all, do you?
Yeah, right. All 175 of them.
Oh, man. All right, hey, you're a fun guy to chat with. Mike, have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, have a great one.
See you, buddy. Your morning wake up, 1320 WILS.